Social Security is an enormously important part of any retiree's life in the United States. In fact, estimates are that over 50% of all retirees rely on Social Security to pay well over half of their retirement expenses. So looking into the next year and saying, what's my raise going to be? Is it going to keep up with inflation? What's my cost of living adjustment going to be? Is something we're all interested in. And recently, USA Today published a short article that I want to go into and share some more detail on to give us some color as to, can we expect our Social Security raise next year to keep up with inflation? So let's start off with this USA Today article. It says, Social Security COLA estimates dip, but seniors remain in a hole. Here's why. And the article's by Medora Lee, and she says that the latest estimate of Social Security's cost estimate for living has slipped for 2025 to 3% after the most recent government CPI. And the source for this is the Senior Citizens League, who tracks and calculates COLA adjustments. So let's go to the Senior Citizens League and let's look at this. And that is the Senior Citizens League. And they say that they were established in 1992. And the Senior Citizens League is one of the nation's largest nonpartisan senior groups. And they're here to ensure that we receive the benefits that we've earned. It helps seniors in other ways. Okay, so they just had a press release that they sent out recently. And there they said, because of the April CPI report, which came in at 3.4%, and that's slightly lower than what the inflation trend has indicated for the last month. And based on this trend, what the Senior Citizens League is anticipating is a COLA adjustment for our Social Security of only 2.66%. And I don't know about you, but my cost of living over the last year has increased more than 2.66%. So it looks like the news is not good, but let's read in here some more. They say that the Senior Citizens League, TSCL, estimates can change, and hopefully they do, based on the CPI data that comes out. And importantly, that the actual estimate is based on the third quarter, the July, August, and September CPI numbers, which obviously have not come out yet. And then they're announced by the Social Security Administration in October. So we still have time. But here's the shocking piece. The shocking piece is they go on to say for 2024, the average Social Security benefit rose by just $50 a month. Now, the average Social Security check in the United States changes every month, but as of January of 2024 was $1,920. So the average person last year got a $50 per month raise. But you have to subtract most seniors on Medicare Part B, their cost increased. And that cost increased by almost $10, $9.80. So really, the average person ended up getting a quote-unquote pay raise of just a few pennies over $40 a month. And with the forecast of only a 2.66% COLA adjustment for 2025, they're saying that this trend of our Social Security checks not keeping up with inflation, unfortunately, is going to continue. And they do a survey of the seniors and say, how is Social Security keeping up with inflation? And in their survey, 71%, almost 3/4 of respondents, said that their household costs exceeded the 3.2 COLA percent increase that they got in 2023. Unfortunately, we all know that Social Security is hurting, that is forecast to run out of excess funds in about 10 years as I record this. Now, what does that mean for us? When the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of excess funds, does that mean that our Social Security checks are going to go away? Well, according to the chair of the trustees for Social Security, Janet Yellen, who's also the Secretary of Treasury, she says that the current taxes are going to be sufficient to pay 70 to 80% of the benefits. But as we're seeing, not only is Social Security not keeping up with inflation, but can you imagine if seniors had to take a 20 or a 30% pay cut in their payments, which is what Janet Yellen is saying, that the current taxes allow the people that are still working and paying into the system, those taxes allow seniors to get 70 to 80% of their current benefit, which is nowhere near adequate. So what do? Right? First, I do think that politicians are going to come up with a solution. And you may call me an optimist, and I prefer to be an optimist. It's just too important of a program. As I said at the beginning, over 50% of Americans rely on Social Security for well over 50% of their monthly expenses to pay for that. So we cannot afford to take a 20 or 30% cut. So there's some proposals coming out by Republicans. There's some proposals coming out by Democrats. And one of them I want to highlight is a proposal by the Democrats that actually talk about stopping taxation of our Social Security, which I think would be a wonderful thing. You can have your Social Security can be taxed at up to 50% of your Social Security benefits can be taxed. And for some people, 85% of their Social Security benefits are being taxed. And in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan signed into law the law that allows up to half of our Social Security benefits to be taxed. And then Bill Clinton, so there's something on a Republican and a Democrat side, Bill Clinton signed into law in the 1990s that allowed up to 85% of our Social Security to be taxed. That's one of the ways that they extended the life of Social Security. But it's essentially about $170,000 a year that people make that can be taxed on, that our Social Security taxes get paid into. Just our first $170,000 of income. So most of the proposals call for us to continue paying taxes into Social Security beyond that $170,000 level. And what I've seen is what I call a donut hole from $170,000 to another level. Let's say $400,000. The Social Security tax goes away, and then for all earnings above $400,000, the Social Security tax comes back into being. And essentially, the amount that we pay into Social Security, that lower number, the $170,000 for 2024, that number keeps increasing every year. For instance, when I started working, that number was closer to like $60,000. So it's increased quite a bit. So over time, that donut hole would likely disappear. So do I think we need to worry about our Social Security payments going away? I think we need to be concerned, but I do think there'll be a solution. It's just too important of a benefit. It's something that we've paid into. And the whole idea of even Social Security, our payments being taxed. I mean, think about it. We pay into Social Security. That payroll tax comes in after-tax dollars. So we pay into Social Security in after-tax dollars. So in some ways, it has similarities. It's very different, but it has similarities to our Roth IRA, where you put after-tax dollars in. And because we put after-tax dollars in, then we don't have to pay tax on distributions out of a Roth. So the idea of Social Security being taxed when we receive the benefit is, we paid for that in after-tax dollars. So in many ways, that's a return of money that we put in after-tax dollars. So we're kind of getting the return of our capital, but it's being taxed. And so many people, including myself, say, I understand we have to make sacrifices in order to make Social Security work, but taxing Social Security is something that I'd like to see go away. And some of these proposals do have the taxes on our benefits going away, but having people pay into the system for more dollars than what they're currently paying into. So I think we need to be concerned. I think one of the reasons Social Security is not going to go away is because seniors are active in voting. I think it's important that we continue to do it. I want to thank the Senior Citizens League for putting this kind of information out there and providing a way to coalesce, to inform, and to organize seniors so that we can fight for our rights. We've paid into Social Security for 20, 30, 40 years, and I don't want to see that go away for any of us. And if you're a boomer, I think you'll really find this video here that talks about boomers are in trouble when it comes to retirement. And I think you'll find it fascinating because Social Security is super important. And for a large group of boomers, if they didn't have Social Security, they'd really be in trouble for retirement. So boomers are in trouble. I think you'd enjoy this video. I look forward to seeing you in there. Thanks for watching this one.